that some of the most important areas to focus on when creating an ethical business culture is actually just making the culture. Um, it starts from the top. You need to have leaders that are very ethical and sound in their decision making. You can't hire someone who's just going to come in, do everything to make a profit, turn people against each other, and basically stab people in the back. You need to have people that trust you because trust is kind of given when you're ethical. Most people are going to want you to lead by example as well. And that does also, again, start with the leadership of the company. You can't have unethical leaders sitting at the top of the company saying that, you need to make ethical decisions. You can't um, do things that are going to put people in a bad spot just to make a profit while they themselves are doing things that would put someone in a bad position to make a profit. You need to also know that it's not always going to be clear. There will always be gray areas in something that you're going to do, especially if you're going to go into a very large business venture. If you're going to move, say, a factory from one town to another town just because you can pay your general laborers um, 10 cents less an hour, that's going to put a very big bind on that city. People also need to know that you need to not waffle. You need to stay consistent with what you're doing. Another big component that I think is an important area is the headline test. This is one that I'd kind of heard, but I'd never heard put very eloquently before starting this class was, if this was put in the newspaper, how would you feel if say you were the person reading the paper, or would you like to have this put in the paper about yourself? Something that's very difficult and very challenging when you're starting to create an organizational culture of business ethics is just weeding out the bad seeds. Um, it can be difficult. People can convince you with very, very deceptive lies. So you got to always find out, what they are, what they stand for, who they are, and also, like I said before, gray areas. Nothing is as simple or as clear as it really sounds it could be. It's going to be difficult. Every decision you make as a company not only affects your company, affects your employees, affects the community, affects honestly the entire world. And another thing that's very, very difficult to do is just being consistent and non-contradictory. Um, I mean, as we've seen lately with the Religious Freedom Act, lawmakers kind of waffled on what they were saying, and they said, "Well, we're going to have this law," and then suddenly they changed the law, but the law really didn't do anything anymore. It was kind of just there, and then instead of repealing it, which is what they should have done, they kind of just fixed it with words instead of just taking the words out of the law. Um, what I think works effectively in creating an ethical business culture, like I said, just don't waffle. Be a very, very good leader in terms of you can't say you're going to do something and then suddenly you don't. You need to be reliable. You need to be consistent, and you can't have a system in place where you are contradicting what you're telling your employees to do.